Fear Street Part 1, 1994 is directed by Lee Janique and stars Lana Madeira. Madeira. I'm sorry if I'm butchering your name. Olivia Scott Welch, Benjamin Flores Jr., and tells the story of a group of kids from Sunnyvale and I'm sorry, I need to remember some stuff. And Shady Side, and how they accidentally awaken a witch. And this witch is going after one of the girls in this friends group. And everybody's trying to keep her alive before any of the killers brought back from the dead come to life and start killing her. This was a very interesting concept. The fact that a witch possessing the bodies of dead killers from the past and using them as like pawns to kill a person that disturbed her resting place. I think that was a very cool idea. And watching this film, for the most part, they executed it very well. The problems I have mostly had to do with the pacing. This felt like a story that could be very simplified, very straightforward, and even though it is called Part 1, I thought that could have ended perfectly, but we gotta wait for the next one. At least the hook is really good, and the characters I cared about, though I don't know how they're going to progress the story long forward. I know this series has to do in the summer, but I wanted to watch them in the Halloween season because they felt like correct for the Halloween season. Now to go to things I like, which is everything else, I felt like the pacing though dragged a bit. And that was like my biggest problem. Like, it needed to be shortened a little bit in my opinion. But everything else is like Stranger Things cranked up to an R rating. If you love Stranger Things, I guarantee you're going to have a really good time with this movie. While it does not have the 80s vibes or retro callbacks to those times in the 80s. This is more setting in the 90s more so. It still has that vibe, that fun vibe. The chemistry between the characters all felt like actual kids from high school. For the most part, I felt like some of the background characters, like the bully characters, they felt a little bit cliche, but for the most part, the main cast worked really well together. There's this one relationship between the main character and her best friend, Heather and Dina and Samantha, that I think worked very well. But this other relationship between which one is it? I think it was Simon and Kate, that I don't think worked out as well or wasn't as fleshed out. I'm starting to recognize some problem with the movie now. I think that also all due with the pacing. It doesn't give time to flesh out all of these relationships in one short movie. And while you are invested in the main character's relationship with her friend, I did not care about the relationships between all the other characters. More so, I enjoyed their banter with one another and their friendships. The horror vibes of the film, though, were really good. There were jump scares placed correctly and were not false, but they enhance the experience and the fun factor. Though I would not consider this to be a scary film. It doesn't have that scary vibe to it. More so it's like a fun slasher from the 80s or 90s is what I'm getting at from here. The film, though, does have very creative kills, and it is very brutal. The violence here, I think, was handled very well. It wasn't too grotesque to the point where it becomes unbearable to watch. More so, it enhances the situations our characters find themselves in and have us fear for their lives. And these killers that are after them all have really creative designs. I love the designs of these killers. Again, this movie fits very well into the Halloween season, and I could see these costumes being worn this Halloween season. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if we get a sexy slit-wristed girl or a skeleton hooded guy running around this Halloween season that are based exactly off of this movie. The whole filmmaking and cinematography also has that 90s slash 80s vibe to it that gives it a Stranger Things feeling to it, but it was able to feel enough like its own thing with the characters and the way it's written. It is a much different film than the TV show Stranger Things, which was actually kind of my biggest worry. I felt like the movie looked a little too much like Stranger Things, but with an R rating. But it was able to stand out on its own as a fun slasher film with very creative kills, nice, cool characters to get attached to. The whole look and aesthetic is appealing to me, so I already have a bias with that because, I love horror films, I love slashers. The writing, for the most part, is really good. The first two acts I thought were balanced very well. I love exploring the two separate towns that are against each other and don't like each other, and I understand how those situations from the two towns affect the characters very much. You understand where they are in their lives. I thought it was all handled very well in the first act. In the second act, when shit goes real, you are fearful for what's going to happen with these characters. Third act is where it kind of dragged and it felt longer than it needed to be. And I felt like it could have been shortened now or trimmed down a little bit. Though there are some impressively suspenseful moments and some very smart decisions made from the characters figuring things out that I actually applaud the filmmakers for giving us smart characters. That just ended up some of them not surviving, and I'm not going to spoil who. Overall, this is not a perfect film. As I said, the pacing kept dragging in the third act, but this was still a fun slash film that I definitely recommend, and I'm going to give Fear Street Part 1 1994 a B+. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please like, subscribe, comment, and I'll see you guys next time.